The secret to making a great Colombian empanada is to ensure to lock every ounce of flavor into every bite, and I'm going to show you how. Take a pound of chuck or similar cut of beef, cut it into chunks, and generously season it with salt and pepper. Don't be shy here. We're going to tenderize the beef by pressure cooking it, but first we're going to develop some flavors by searing the chunks on all sides. Coat the bottom of a hot pan with some oil, add the beef, and sear each side for about a minute. Gently pull on them to see if they release. If they don't, move to the next piece and try again in about 30 seconds. Continue to all the sides are brown. Do be careful not to burn them though. Now while the beef sears, peel and lightly crush 2 to 3 cloves of garlic depending on their size. Next, add enough beef or chicken stock to cover the beef, or you could just throw in a bouillon cube with water. I personally added some homemade concentrated stock and topped it off with some water. Toss in the clean scallion with its root cut off and the crushed garlic. Cover and pressure cook for an hour or cook for 3 hours if using a regular pot. Take a pound of potatoes, about 3 or 4 medium-sized ones, and cut them into 1-inch cubes. Place them in a pot with enough salted water so that there's an inch of water above them. Cover the pot and bring it to a boil on high heat. Once boiling, reduce the heat to medium-low and cook until tender, about 12 minutes. While the beef and potatoes cook, we'll prepare the vegetables for the ají sauce and the filling. We're going to peel some tomatoes by first blanching them. First, remove the stem end by using a paring knife. Use your thumb to limit the depth of the blade to about an inch. This will help prevent you from accidentally cutting yourself. Cut around the stem end with a knife angled towards the center and remove. Make a cross on the other side to help start the peeling process. Place them in the water for about a minute. You'll see the skin starting to peel off on its own. Next, place them in the ice water for about another minute. Grab them and just pull the skin off. It should peel off easily. Dice and set them aside. Do be careful as they are very slippery. Dice a red onion. We're going to use half for the ají sauce and the other half is going to be sauteed with the other vegetables for the filling. Core and dice a red bell pepper. The bell pepper is only going to be used for the filling, for both the ají sauce and the filling. Chop about 3 scallions or about a half cup's worth. Cut off the root and any wilted end tips. Sometimes the first layer of the skin is removed as it can be slimy, and we don't want any of that. But before chopping them, run the knife through the middle of the white part of each scallion, as this part is thicker than the leafy green parts. Here I'm using some jalapenos for the ají sauce, but those are optional. After removing the stems, cut them in half long ways, and using a teaspoon, spoon out all the seeds and veins, which is where most of the heat is at. Finally dice and cross chop them so that they blend well with the mix. Now for some real heat, go ahead and use a small habanero pepper. Remove the stem, dice, and chop it all up, seeds, veins, and all. The habanero gives it a little kick at the back of the throat, while the jalapeno gives it a milder hit at the front of the mouth. You can also just use your favorite hot sauce instead of any peppers, or omit the heat altogether. In the end, you're the one in control. Next, finally chop 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. Again, half is for the filling, and the other half is for the sauce. You can add as much or as little as you want. Always remember that a recipe is only a guide that can be adjusted to your liking. You can add or remove ingredients. Make the recipe your own. Now, take a bundle of cilantro or parsley for those with a soap gene, and finely chop it up. I'm finely chopping most of the ingredients because I want a good mix in every spoonful of the sauce. To make the ají sauce, add half the onions to a bowl or a jar, toss in the hot peppers or leave them out, throw in half the cilantro and half the tomatoes. Some folks throw in less tomatoes or sometimes none because they claim that the sauce lasts longer without them. Continue by adding half the garlic. Now, add the juice of 2 fresh limes. Yes, fresh limes. I know I said that you control the recipe, but come on. Do you really want to ruin their sauce with that bottled synthetic crap? I don't even like the fresh bottle stuff. That is about as fresh as your bottle processed orange juice. Anyway, add a few pinches of salt and mix it well as it will affect the way the other ingredients are incorporated. Next, add some vinegar. Here I'm using the traditional distilled white, but you can use the apple cider for the extra layer of flavor and make it fancy. Add some olive oil and mix well. This ají sauce goes great as a topping for soups, vegetables, or even over beans. Next, add a cup of water. If you want it runnier, add about 1.5 to 1 3/4 cups of water instead. You decide. Now mix it well. The reason why some folks like to put this in jars is so that they can vigorously shake it up and emulsify the oil with the water. Taste it and adjust the salt if need be. Try to undersalt it in the beginning as it is always easier to add salt than it is to remove it. Cover and refrigerate. Time for the potatoes. Check a few pieces with a fork for tenderness. If the fork slides right in, they're done. Drain and set them aside for later. We are now going to saute the vegetables for the filling. Heat up a pan to medium heat and add enough olive oil to coat the bottom of it. Swirl it all around to ensure even coating. After a minute, we'll add the vegetables in a special order so that they can evenly cook. First, throw in the onions and mix it all around. Then, throw in the bell pepper. Mix and let it cook for about 4 minutes so that they can soften up a bit. Throw in the remaining scallions and mix them all up. After about a minute, add about a tablespoon of olive oil and let it heat up for about another minute. Add the remaining garlic to the oil and mix. Let it all cook for an additional minute. Throw in the peeled tomatoes and cook them for 2 minutes before lowering the heat to a low simmer. The tomatoes will start to melt thanks to the missing skin. Here we add a spice blend packet of sazon Goya. You don't have to use this one. I'm sure you can find a similar variant in the area. Add some fresh cracked black pepper, kosher salt, and mix. Finally, add the rest of the cilantro/parsley and combine. Add the drained potatoes and mix it all. Make sure the potatoes get completely coated. Use a potato masher or fork and mash some of the potatoes. Not all of them. We don't want mashed potatoes. We just want to leave a few lumps for texture. Mix it all up and taste for seasoning. Alright, time to move to the beef. The beef should be ready by this point. Make sure to carefully release the steam before opening the pot. Carefully pick out the chunks of beef, strain and reserve the stock as it is going to be used for the dough. While some folks use forks to shred the beef and others wait for it to cool off to shred by hand, we use a more efficient way. I'm going to be using a hand mixer to shred all the beef in about 2 minutes or less. Just make sure you have a deep enough bowl or you'll have delicious shredded beef all over the walls. Use the lowest speed and just go at it. Okay, we're at the home stretch now. Add the potato mix to the beef and mix it all up. Give it a final taste and adjust the salt if need be. Time to finally make the dough. Pour 3 cups of the broth. If you don't have enough, you can compensate with some water or choice of stock. Now, it is important to note that the flour needed is pre-cooked cornmeal. This is what gives it the specific flavor and crispy texture. That being said, there are different brands of pre-cooked cornmeal and the one to use is pan if you have it available. And the one to avoid if you can is Goya's Masarepa. Their inferior quality is noticeable by the way the dough feels. It's grainy, making it difficult to create a thin layer of dough essential for a great empanada or arepas for that matter. Also, try not to fall for their sneaky packaging trying to make it look like pan. The dollar you save by buying Goya is not worth it. But it is still better than nothing, I guess. The empanadas just won't be great. Here we add a packet of some Goya for color, or you can add annatto. I didn't add it thinking that the broth had enough color, but I was wrong. Slowly whisk in equal parts pre-cooked cornmeal to broth, which was 3 cups. Here's when I realized the dough wasn't colorful enough, so I added as a home packet. Knead the dough for 4 to 5 minutes. Not to create gluten as cornmeal has none, but to incorporate all of the broth and sazon into the dough. Cover it and let it rest for 10 minutes to give the dough a chance to absorb the broth. You can check by making a small ball and squeezing it. Notice how it doesn't crack? That means that the mix is at its right consistency. Good luck achieving that with the Goya brand. Okay, let's move on to the empanadas. Take a Ziploc bag and cut its size to open it up. Make a 2-ounce dough ball which is slightly bigger than a golf ball. Put it in between the plastic bag and flatten it out. Here I'm showing you how to do it with a thick bottom pot, but you can also use a rolling pin. Add about 1.5 tablespoons of filling across the center of the disc. Carefully fold it over and with your fingers gently press down near the edge of the filling. You'll feel it. Next, use a small bowl or cup of choice as a mold and place it over the empanada. Press and twist the mold. Carefully open the bag and lift out the empanada. Seal off the edges by lightly tapping it and you're done. Only 23 more to go. Here I have a tortilla press that makes things easier. You can get this or a similar one just about anywhere. Just put the bag in, place your dough ball, press, put in your filling, close it the same way. Use the mold to cut it out, touch it up, and ready to go. This may still take a while, so this is how I make them. I take one of those soft bags you find at the grocery store by the meat and poultry section, cut it open, and place it on my workstation. Still make the test the same way. Ziploc bag in the tortilla press, dough ball in, press down, but now I take the disc and place it on the plastic sheet. I make the second one and place them next to each other. Add the filling, carefully fold over the disc, press with the fingers, shape with the mold, and tighten them up. This saves a ton of time. I normally do 3 or 4 at a time, but here I'm showing 2 for the sake of the video. We are ready to fry them. Put them in a 350-degree oil and make sure not to crowd them so that they can cook evenly. Fry them for 8 minutes or until golden brown. Drain them on a cooling rack or paper towels. Let them rest for about 4 minutes, then serve with the ají sauce. These empanadas also freeze great raw. Just lay them on a tray and let them touch each other and place them in the freezer for about an hour. Then put them in bags for future cooking. Fry them the same way but for 10 minutes. Well, hope you give this recipe a try, and as always, the ingredients are in the description below.